Get football updates directly to your inbox plus subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Could not subscribe. Try again later. Invalid email. For a moment, it looked like Pep Guardiola would not let go of Leroy Sane. First, the loving, patting hand on the cheek and then the full bear hug. Replaced shortly before the end. Sane had not scored, had not had a consistently brilliant match, and his work rate was hardly eye-catching. This match belonged to Sergio Aguero, doing what Sergio Aguero has been doing with a minimum of fuss for almost 7 years. Proving himself to be one of the greatest performers in Manchester City's history. Proving himself to be a strangely underrated but bona fide striking superstar. Whatever Alexis Sanchez will be earning across town, Aguero deserves parity. Image. Sean Botterill. This was his 11th hat-trick for City and will not be his last. Especially now Sanchez has decided he prefers Old Trafford. But there was a reason Guardiola withdrew Sane a touch early. He wanted to give the younger talent that touchy-feely moment of thanks. Because for a few minutes, after Jacob Murphy had responded to Aguero's first 2 goals, City were jittery, panicky almost. Newcastle threatened an equalizer, and while even a draw would probably have had minuscule effect on the title run in, it would have raised a few questions about a hint of City fragility surfacing. But Sane then twisted the blood of a gaggle of Newcastle defenders and played it up Aguero's third. That is the thing about the City team. Their collectivity is their strength, but moments of individual brilliance can settle nerves and matches. Image. Sean Botterill. That is why Pep cuddled Leroy. His nerves had been calmed. After such an extended period of irresistibility, this was what passes for a pinch of pressure on Pep. Not only were City coming into the contest on the back of that novel defeat, their lead had been reduced to single figures ahead of kickoff. Mind you, it was not as if Newcastle were ever going to pose a winning threat. A few scuffling punters in the stands, the only black and white shirts on the front foot for any real length of time. Newcastle have now completed their obligations against City and, apart from the flurry after Murphy's strike, barely had the football over 2 matches. Still, Guardiola's team had responded, and this response means a 12-point lead with 14 games remaining. Image. Sean Botterill. Every shred of evidence would have to be challenged if anyone imagines anything other than ultimate triumph, but that vulnerability at Anfield last weekend does give faint hope to those who can loosely be described as pursuers. There was even a panicky moment or two here, notably when Murphy collected Kieran Clark's out of the blue pass and lifted a peach over Ederson. But this was mainly a training ground exercise. That is why City remained stone-cold certainties, while meetings with the rest of the Big Six could prove problematic. There is nothing to suggest they will falter against the mediocrity outside the top half dozen. This ended up bizarrely close at one point, but there is still little to suggest the sort of tactics employed for long periods by Rafa Benitez and many others will frustrate this City side. The problem is the bus gets pelted from every conceivable angle, whether it be the sort of viciously in-swinging Kevin De Bruyne cross Aguero only had to aim a knowing look at for his first, or the darting wrong flank run from Raheem Sterling that drew the penalty from Javier Manquillo. After Aguero converted, Murphy's riposte came courtesy of that tasty finish and the absent-mindedness of Alexander Zinchenko, making his first Premier League start for City. In general, he looks a tidy sort but flagged a little, and even though he has plenty of full-backs on his books, it would not be a seismic shock to see Guardiola at least have a think about recruiting in that area. More likely, if he looks for anything, it will be for more attacking options after missing out on Sanchez. For now, though, with the likes of Sane and Aguero in harness, he has probably got quite enough to canter to the title. That is for sure.